Hey guys, today we're in the book of Numbers chapter 4. Numbers chapter 4 is just more details of what was said in chapters number 3. The Levites were picked, they were set aside, and they were giving some general instructions in chapter 3. But here in chapter 4, God tells Moses exactly what each family of the Levites should do and how they should do it. And so we see it very easily broken apart into the three families of the Levites. First, we start with Kohath. And notice it says in every tribe that they number them from 30 years old to 50 years old. Now remember in chapter 3, they numbered them from 1 month to death, right? Basically, if they're alive and they're over 1 month, they got numbered. But now God is numbering them from 30 years old to 50 years old. Are they able to serve in the temple? How many of them are there exactly so God can give them a job, a role to do? And so they are numbered, and then we get the instructions. And so for the Kohath family, they pack the furniture and the utensils, all the things that are inside of the tabernacle. The Holy of Holies, the table of showbread, the incense altar, the candelabra, the outside altar, the bronze basin. That's what they carry, right? And so they pick them up and move them. But remember, in the description of building the temple, they were all made with rings so that they could slide poles in. They could not touch them, right? Remember, we have learned what is holy cannot be with that which is unholy. And so there still has to be separation, that the unholy men cannot come in contact with those things that are holy, that God has made holy. In verse 16, we see that even though the Kohath people carry these things, notice it's the priest, it's the sons of Aaron who carry the actual things that are being used. So they're carrying the oil, the frankincense, the grain offering, and they're even oversighting. They're the kind of the chief manager of everything that is happening. And it's just interesting to notice that in verse 20, we're told that even though they're putting a covering over the Ark of the Covenant and they're walking in and using the rods to carry the Ark of Covenant, it says that they cannot even look on the holy things, right? So they can't even look while they're doing it because God is so holy and they are not. Leviticus chapter 19. Then starting in verse 21, we see the family of the Gershwins. And so once again, they're numbered 30 years old to 50 years old. And their job is to carry all the curtains and all the material of the tabernacle. So the material that covers the tabernacle, the veils, all of that's inside the tabernacle, as well as the curtain or the huge privacy fence that goes around the tabernacle. And then lastly, the third family of the Levites, starting in verse 21, is the Merari family, and once again, they're counted 30 years old to 50 years old, and they're to carry the structure, the framing, the wood, the shackles, the poles, the bases, all of what we would say is the structure, right? The structure of it. That's what they are moved in carrying. And then we see, starting in verse 34, the actual numbers. So with the Kohathites, we see that there's 2,750. With the Gershwins, there's 2,630. And then with the Merari, there are 3,200. And then we see in verse 46, and all those who were listed were Levites from 30 years old to 50 years old, and with a total of 8,580 working men whose job was to move, to set up, and to help the tabernacle move and to keep running while the priest did all of the sacrifices. And notice what it says in verse 49. I love this. As a pastor, this is a great verse. Each one with his task of service or carrying. On Wednesday nights, we are reading through the book of First Corinthians. And in First Corinthians, we see Paul talks about that the church is like a human body where Jesus is the head and everybody else in the church is the members of the body. We're the hands, we're the feet, we're the arms, we're the belly button, we're the eyes, we're the ear, we're the bowels, we're the intestines, we're all the parts of the body. And without any part of the body, it's not a functioning body. So in the very beginning, before the New Testament church is even thought of by man, right? God is setting up worship in such a way that every single person is made to serve. Every single person has a job. Where are you serving in the church? Even if you're not with Green Acres and you're just watching this because you want to, and that's great, where are you serving in your church? God has not called you to be a Christian who stays at home and watches videos on YouTube. God has called you to be a Christian, to be a body part in the local church. And so where is Jesus? Jesus is the head of the body, and we are the members of the body. And we all have a place, we all have a task of service to carry on the kingdom of God. So I hope that makes sense for you, and we will see you tomorrow on chapter 5. God bless.